Okay, I want to talk about the Sarah Grace case. And this case has been intriguing to me because I feel like a lot of people have pretty strong opinions on it. I personally am leaning more towards not guilty with Sarah Grace. And something that has been happening that's also noteworthy in this case is that there just hasn't been much information or evidence released from the police because so little has come out in terms of information with this case. It really makes it hard for the public to evaluate the case responsibly, especially when you consider that this 16-year-old girl is being held pretrial after bond being denied and she's being tried as an adult. So I think it'd be good to just start off right away in this video talking about things that are true or that we know for a fact that has been reported to us, and then other things that people are using as evidence, but I think that they're inaccurately assuming things or judging things from, I guess, uninformed perspectives or incorrect perspectives. Okay, first, let's go over the little bit of information that we have on the Red Rum. This is what has been released so far in the newspapers and stuff. On February 20th, 2025, Kristen Brock, who is 41, and James Brock, who is 45, were found to death in their home in Carroll County, Georgia. They had a 4-year-old daughter together, who is the person who ended up finding them in their home. Kristen Brock had an older daughter who is named Sarah Grace Patrick. She was 16 years old. But when Sarah Grace came out, oh, so she's like that, she's half siblings with this daughter. And so James Brock is her stepdad. And she called 911. And then early reports were mentioning that they didn't see clear signs of forced entry. But that's something I'll share in a little bit. And then on July 8th, Patrick turned herself in and then was charged as an adult with red rum related charges. Oh, yeah, the judge denied bond to Sarah Grace since July, which seems for me, I'm just, she's like 17. It's sad, but the case is moving forward January 5th, 2026. So that's coming up pretty quickly here. And recently, the defense asked to change locations to help deter people being biased against Sarah, and the judge denied that too. So that is just a little overview of the facts that we know right now. I'm going to continue separating facts from interpretation as I go, and I'm also going to interpret things that other people have, but in different ways. Okay, so next I'm going to go over some factors that I believe are being improperly used as facts or evidence that are really circumstantial and definitely not enough to indicate guilt or any type of involvement with the crime. So I'm going to go over 4 of them that have stuck out to me specifically. The first thing that I've noticed is that everyone, unlike all of the videos on this case, and when people discuss it, people are really kind of policing her behavior, Sarah Grace's, and everyone says that she's acting really weird and that it's super suspicious, and it really makes them think that she probably is a psycho and she's involved with this. And what they refer to is she'll go on TikTok and she'll make videos where she's just like crying nonstop. This is before she was arrested last summer. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's so dramatic. It's so weird. And it's like, is it really that weird though? Because she's like a 16-year-old girl who like just went through like a huge trauma, finding her 2 parents like totally, blown away. And I'm sure it'd be really confusing and scary, and that's why teenagers are funny AF. But I don't think that we can base someone's guilt off of whether or not they were acting properly, especially like in a teenager who just went through something so traumatic. And they also talk about what she said at the funeral and like how she apologized. Like they said that she was giving a speech and that she stopped and she said sorry about something and that was like showing that she was saying sorry about actually doing it. But to me, it just sounded like she had kind of like just messed up the words a little bit before she said sorry and she was just kind of nervous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always say sorry too. So, I mean, she's not like that, but you know what I mean? Like, I think, yeah, it's not that crazy. And then people are saying like she contacted other true crime creators asking them to, she's just trying to get people to, she's doing this for attention. She's attention seeking. The creator that actually she reached out to, I've heard her talk about it, and she was like, at first I thought that was cool and it was interesting, but then looking back and like seeing what she actually was writing to me, it was just very strange. Like she was saying that it would get a bunch of views and stuff, and I'm like, so what? Like again, a dumb teenager, and like I just am like, I kind of like am judging a little bit that true crime creator that would like come out and say something like that against like a 16-year-old that's like, and that makes no sense. Like if someone is the perpetrator of a red room, why would they call different true crime channels to try to solve it? They would not be wanting to solve it if it was them. You know, that makes no sense that people are like blaming that on her. I think that, yeah, just because someone's weird or like a teenager girl or doing stuff that you think people might think is a little bit different, it definitely is not at all like indicative of guilt. Sarah Grace did not hear or did not wake up to the incident taking place, and instead her 4-year-old sister did. And then the 4-year-old sister had to come wake up Sarah Grace, and then she had to come find her parents breadcrumbed, and that's when she called 911. And the house is like really tiny, and everyone was like, "There's no way that someone could sleep through that." I mean, it's just right down the hallway, but we see in cases all the time that that does actually happen, and I think it especially happens more these days because people are falling asleep with, you know, earpods or watching TV. So if you just have any type of white noise, I think it really can help cover up sounds. And I'd say even if there isn't any explanation for her, for some reason, not hearing and getting up, that still standalone is not enough to assume guilt of anyone at all. I think that those are important factors that help debunk some of the rumors that are currently going around. January
Okay,
5th.
so
So the next thing that people are arguing about or saying, and I don't think is accurate, is talking about the motive. There seems to be no motive for Sarah Grace to have done this to her parents. And the only thing that I've heard mentioned is that maybe there might have been some fighting with her mom about her boyfriend or something. But her parents are divorced, and she decided to move in with her mom at the time that it happened. If she didn't want to be there, she could have just went to her dad's place because they were separated. And actually, her dad is supporting her, and also her maternal grandfather. So her mom's dad is also supporting her, saying like they both are saying that she's not guilty, which I think is like says a lot too, especially 'cause the father of the red rum victim. But that all was like pretty much I think normal teen stuff, and definitely not enough to be able to say that that would have been like a reasonable motive for her to do that to her parents or her mom and stepdad. Sarah's maternal grandfather, Dennis Nolan, who is Sarah's mother, Christian Brock's father, he has done a couple of interviews that I think have really added to the narrative. about what could have actually happened that day and what evidence there may be. And so one of those examples is Dennis Nolan was talking to a news station, and he said that when he asked the detectives or the attorney general what they had in order to have arrested Sarah, the detectives were basically just like, well, she's the only one that could have done it, like logically or reasonably, which is, it's worth noting that in other reporting and commentary, like public commentary, it has been noted that there may be a complicated adult history in this family. Specifically, there's been mentions of some substance abuse issues and possible criminal charges. Solidify that right now. But I know that it was mentioned that there was substance abuse issues. And I'm not saying that that necessarily proves a motive here, but I am saying that it's a reason to not completely buy all into the normal teen drama as the only explanation for here. And just to be precise about the entry issue, earlier reporting said that there was no immediate evidence of a forced entry, but Sarah Grace's maternal grandfather, again, Dennis Nolan, he told WSB TV that he believes that someone broke in through the back door, and he said that he can prove that it was done with forced entry. He did show a picture where there was a back door that had like crowbars taken to it. So I think that's unfortunate because I'm sure that everyone's not going to buy that now. But I really do believe Dennis Nolan, and I really am tending to lean much more towards the side that Sarah's probably not guilty. It just sucks that when the cops suck at doing their job, like collecting evidence, then it's like we can't ever really get that back. So I feel like if we don't have that solid evidence, like we like lose out on that arrest because we have to have solid evidence, like real evidence besides just that is the most likely thing. I think the decision of guilt should be so much more than just vibes or opinions. I think in order for me to really start believing that she might have had something to do with this, where is the like weapon? They didn't find that. So what did she do with it in between? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, does she have a history of like being known to like use firearms? Like, does she have a violent history? Okay, so just to wrap up this video, I hope that I help some of you look at this case a little bit more with a selective eye and be open to different interpretations. Hopefully, you guys have learned how to not make a judgment before you see all of the evidence and not just listen to the narrative that the police are giving you or the news. I think moving forward with this case, I will just update probably on short TikToks if things are happening before the actual trial starts, and the trial starts on January 5th. Watching it throughout the day when it's on. Thank you so much for being here. Peace and love. Deuces.